Welcome to To Bloom, the podcast where we talk about philosophy, spirituality, and personal growth. In today's episode, I want to talk about manifestation and law of attraction, why I don't really like that concept, and why it feels like women are more open to it than men, and how the whole concept of manifestation is kind of ableist. That is what we're going to talk about in today's episode. First, let me define law of attraction, or as it is more commonly called, manifestation. Let me first define it and explain what it is before we can pick it apart. So let me see, I will pull up the definition here. Let's see. Law of attraction, this is from Wikipedia, but I think it's accurate. Law of attraction, also called New Thought or the New Thought movement. The law of attraction is the new thought spiritual belief that positive or negative thoughts bring positive or negative experiences into a person's life. So that is the most basic explanation of the law of attraction, that positive thought bring about positive energy into one's life and therefore also bring positive experiences, while negative thoughts bring about negative energy and negative experiences. Do I really need to start to explain why this is wrong? Do I really need to explain why this is ableist? If we really think about it with OCD and stuff like that, but I will go more in depth with this, I promise. I have two reasons why these are ableist or victim blamey. Why the whole concept is victim blamey and ableist. And the first is, of course, OCD, obsessive and intrusive thoughts. I will pull up the definition of OCD here so we can talk about it. OCD is a mental health condition characterized by intrusive thoughts, obsessions, and repetitive behaviors, also called compulsions. OCD stands for obsessive compulsive disorder. These obsessions and compulsions can cause significant distress and interfere with daily lives. Obsessions can be unwanted, persistent, and distressing thoughts, images, or urges that repeatedly enter a person's mind, causing anxiety and distress. Compulsions means they are repetitive behaviors, feels driven to perform in response to obsessions, often to reduce anxiety and prevent a feared outcome. So this is a severe disorder, and as you can imagine when you've been told that positive thoughts or your thoughts can impact reality, of course that will make this condition worse. Also, this information I just read was generated by AI, Google's AI, but you can read more on the NHS website. I read on nhs.uk on their website, so you can find out more, or so there was where I got this information from. As someone who has lived with OCD in my childhood and teenage years, I can say that if I had heard about this concept back then. Luckily, it wasn't a big thing back then, but if I had heard about manifestation and that my thoughts can generate an outcome in real life, I mean outside of my head, I don't know what I would do. I would be so scared all the time, because luckily I got on medication when I was fairly young, so I don't have the symptoms of OCD anymore. I have not that diagnosis anymore, because when you're a fun fact about that diagnosis, if you get medicated under the age of 25, or when your brain is fully developed, you can, if you are lucky, get rid of the diagnosis with medication and therapy. And that was what happened to me, so I'm very thankful for that. But I can't imagine having the anxiety on top of the anxiety of the manifestation, if that were true. And the thing is that manifestation isn't even true. So people have anxiety when they don't need to have that. I mean, I have been in the law of attraction manifestation. I have been in that mindset, and I really thought it was true for a while, and I really did try to manifest things by thinking positively, and it never worked. I don't know. I really thought that I did it the right way. It never worked. It's the same thing with me losing my faith in the Christian God, because he never answered my prayers, no matter how genuine, no matter of how sincere I was never heard. And it's the same thing with law of attraction. I never did it, quote unquote, the right way according to others, so I stopped believing in it as well. And I honestly don't think it is true. So it's just another source of anxiety for people with OCD. Also, here can be a good time to clarify that witchcraft and rituals and spells and other things I do in my Wiccan and pagan practice, I don't see that as the same thing as law of attraction or manifestation in that that concept. I mean, it is manifesting something when you do a ritual or spell or similar. It is a manifestation of something, or you try to manifest something, but it's a completely different concept, because my thoughts aren't the main focus, my intention is. And I think thoughts and intention is very different things. You can have negative thoughts but still have a valid or a clear intention. So that's why rituals and spells can work even if you think negatively, and even if you think it might not even work, it can work anyway, because your intention was pure, your intention was clear, your intention was good, and you had, you know what I mean. I said I had two main reasons for why I think law of attraction is ableist, and my first one was this one with OCD and that disorder. My second one is another thing, and that is children and kids. How come how come that bad things happen to children, and if they are sad or thinking negative thoughts because they are sad, because they are children, they can be sad and don't know why. Children can't consent to anything, so it would be very unfair to think that they are responsible for what happens to them because of their thoughts. It's messed up to think that children think negatively, that makes up their reality if bad things happen to them. And bad things happen to children. There are children that are abused and neglected and mistreated. Is that because they have manifested that? No, of course not. I think it's not ableist to think it more victim blamey. I mean, when I said in the beginning that law of attraction is ableist and shames victims and survivors of things, it's more of that. It's victim blamey, and that has been my argument from the very beginning when I did an old video on my YouTube channel about the law of attraction, that children are so pure, so innocent, so if bad things can happen to them, that is a direct answer to that manifestation, and law of attraction is bullshit. I don't know if you have been able to hear that, but I have recorded this podcast over a few days, so maybe my words I'm very tired, so maybe my voice has changed throughout the podcast episode, and I'm very tired, and I want to talk a little bit in the rest of the podcast about personal things. So if you want to stick with me, that's great. If you don't, then you don't. But I have had a rough couple of weeks or days because my how to say it, the anniversary, or what to call it, for my trauma event has been. I was sexually assaulted on May 25 in 2020. So May is overall a very, very rough month for me, and I have needed to take a lot of breaks, and recording this podcast over a few days, as I do with many of my videos, because I have so limited energy, and I really don't feeling that well, and yeah, but podcasting is easier in a way than videos are, because I don't need to be in front of a camera. I can just record the audio, and that's fine. I have this animation in the background if you're watching on YouTube, or it is just audio if you're listening to this on streaming services, podcast services. So it's easier in a way. That's why the podcast is back. Also, I want to say that if you're watching on YouTube, episode 4 was never posted on YouTube because it contained a lot of explicit language that are maybe not allowed on YouTube. It's not adult, or you're sure it's an adult episode, but I mean, maybe you should be at least a teenager to listen to it, because it is about abortion and my thoughts about that, and my arguments about why I am pro-choice, and I realized that it was too much to beep out, so I never bothered to publish it on YouTube. I just marked it as explicit and published it on Substack and on the regular Spotify and stuff. So that's why you haven't seen it on YouTube. I also have taken it very easy because I've had a person in my life. I don't want to reveal the person or the connection that person has to me, but it is someone who has hurt me, and that has of course been another trauma on top of the other traumas I have in my life. I don't know if I'm going to make a police report, if I'm going to contact the police about it or anything. I have some problems, and I'm in contact with health services, like my psychologist in therapy, but also the hospital and like the other health medical services, because it happened a thing that I don't know if I should report to the police or not, and I'm in that right now, and I don't think I will ever report it because I don't want to go through that with the police asking me further questions about it. I don't know if I can handle that, so I don't know if I will do that. But that is another concern, and why I haven't been so active here. But I plan to continue with the podcast, and I plan to continue with my videos on YouTube, and I plan to move on as fast as possible, and everything goes back to normal, and or as normal as it can, and I hope that I will be able to do that. I will rest from recording now, and this is also it for this episode. I think I will post like every other week the podcast, like bi-weekly, I mean once in 2 weeks, but it can be once a month as well. I don't know, it depends on my energy and how I am doing, but yeah, this was it for this episode, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and goodbye.